Greetings and welcome, everybody, to this week's edition of Poly Weekly News. I'm your host, David Danto, and we have some interesting things to talk about this week. Poly just completed a research report. If you haven't seen it yet, just by all means reach out to me or any of one of my guests on the call here. We'll get we'll get this information to you. But between that research report and probably dozens of end users that I've spoken with over the course of the last few months, everybody agrees that hybrid work is here to stay. Nobody agrees what hybrid work is. Everybody's got a different definition of it, and they're all trying to figure it out. But everybody agrees that hybrid work is here to stay. And one of the things that means is that every meeting going forward, or just about every meeting going forward, is going to have at least one remote participant, and probably more than one. And if you think about that, that's probably tens of thousands of at-home users participating in video calls where we haven't yet set an industry standard for what it is that means, whether people are just holding up their mobile device or using something built into a computer or using a high-tech tool, and what the bandwidth is and what the features should be and what it should look like. So all of that's out in the open. And my guests this week are Caitlin Press and Tony Intrabartolo, two old friends of mine, good friends of mine, that do this for a living. They're our crack experts at Poly, and they're going to walk you through Poly's work from home solutions, what the various features and trade-offs are, and what some of the cool pieces of that are. And then we'll talk a little bit about where you can find out more about work from home solutions. So Caitlin, let me start with you. Why don't you introduce yourself, tell everybody what your title is and how you got to be at Poly.
Sure. Well, hello everyone. It's a pleasure to join you guys today. So I'm Caitlin Press. I work as a systems engineer out of our New York metro area. So I have about 20 strategic accounts that I work with, and really kind of plan day to day with them. And a huge thing is work from home. So we definitely spend a lot of time on that these days. I have been with Polycom for a long time and kind of done everything. So inside sales, demonstration manager, briefing manager, and now on this technical side. So really great to, again, be with you guys and talk about these work from home solutions.
Thank you, Caitlin. And Caitlin, you're technically not at home right now, right? You're in our Texas office.
Yeah, I'm actually in Austin right now. So normally, again, I'm in New York, but hybrid, right? And we kind of flow wherever we need to go these days. So I'll show you some technology, and actually brought it with me. So it's a great take as you go technology that we have with some of these work from home too.
That's my definition of remote working and working from home, is that you as a knowledge worker go wherever you need to be on any given day. You're not in any fixed number of days in one place or another place. You are where you need to be, and you follow your calendar, and you just do what you need to do. So great. Caitlin, thank you very much for joining us. Tony Intrabartolo, Tony I, we call him. Tony, thanks for joining us. Tell everybody who you are and your many years that we've known each other and what you've done in the industry.
Well, first of all, that comment of old friends is kind of funny because we're filming this actually on my birthday, so I'm older today. So there you go. So Tony Intrabartolo, Senior Solutions Architect for all things Zoom here in the Americas. So I spend most of my time working with Caitlin and all of her team, helping them with our clients and Zoom and rolling out our Poly solutions in the Zoom ecosystems. Prior to this, good Lord, I worked for a reseller for a while. Prior to that, I worked at Under Armour running their collab. Prior to that, I was Cisco Tandberg for 17 years, to the point I still have one of the original Tandberg remotes out here. And prior to that, I was a company called PictureTell. So my running, yep. See, I've got the older one, so I don't know what that means, but so yeah, pretty much this is what I've done for a living, and I love this industry and collaboration. It's amazing. I know me and Dave remember the days of ISDN and SPIDs and all that, and now I can just click a button and I'm in a high quality video call with almost no typing in prefixes anymore. So happy to be here.
Hook up the 2B plus D to the NTU, and it doesn't work half the time.
And it's 011 for AT&T SPIDs, and what was it? 110 for, yeah. We've been doing
this. But we do have to acknowledge the Tandberg 1000. The Tandberg 1000 was the device that changed the industry. So
absolutely.
That was a nice little picture frame device. Okay, so let's talk about the Poly solutions and the Poly offerings. Caitlin, I think you're holding up P5, right, which is our introductory camera for advanced work at home. It's not, by no means is it a small device. It's got some really cool features. Why don't you take a second and tell us about them?
Absolutely. And this is exactly what I popped in my briefcase to come here to Austin. So this travels with me as well. So to Dave's point earlier, this is a work from home experience, but it also can be with you wherever you go, right? It's really easy to bring along on the road. So the P5 is our 1080p webcam. You have a privacy shutter right at the top of it. So even if you mute on your soft client, you also can double mute here and you know that you're going to be good. It has an LED light at the top, a little fin here. So it also lets people know green, I'm available, red, I'm in a meeting, those types of things. So it gives you that privacy there. Another couple great things we really did with this technology is we allowed it to take off this hinge mount. Now you can obviously use the hinge mount to size to whatever display that you have, again, on your laptop if you're traveling, display at home if that's what you have. But I actually, a little use case I use it for, and Tony may do this too, we're constantly demoing from home and showing pieces of our technology to our customers. So I'll literally put this on a tripod and show people what I'm doing, right? So I can kind of evolve it and how I use it, from face forward, talking to you all, to actually showing a piece of technology. And since I've done that, I've heard a lot of customers using that for live documentation or hard documentation and actually showing pieces that way. So a lot of cool features that it comes with. The other thing that is really neat is on the back of it, we have this little garage door where you can put in a USB dongle. So if you're pairing this with our headset for a really intimate experience, right, where you need kind of noise canceling, this is key because there's less and less USB ports on laptops these days, right? So we can combine this into one USB back to your computer, and users will have a great experience. So I love this feature that we did with this garage door and kind of getting that all in one. But a great technology for kind of your everyday worker, knowledge worker, again, on the go, always at home, giving you a great experience with, low light technology, backlight technology, so you can get rid of those selfie rings. This is going to give you some good experience.
Yeah, and also that garage door, you can put any USB-A in there, of course, but I think our BT600, our BT700, the little dongle actually fits in and you can close it. So exactly. you never lose your headset dongle again. I'm using Focus 2 right now, so or Focus 1, one of the other ones, but it has the BT600 dongle. So again, that would be a great opportunity to plug it right in. You don't tie up the port. Tony, I'm sorry, I interrupted you. You were going to say something?
No. So the big thing for me, like Caitlin, I'm a road warrior as well. I always carry my P5, but the other thing I always carry is my sync, right? I can set up basically anywhere with any laptop and have good audio video quality. Also, it's amazing for music. We watched Unbox Therapy yesterday. But if I, really have to do music like I did in the fourth, I bring this guy, but it's a little much to carry in my backpack. But the audio and, my favorite thing about this is it also charges my phone. People forget about that. You have USB and I can charge my phone, and believe it, the battery on this, which is 20 hours, it's a lot bigger than the battery on my phone. So I always carry this in my backpack.
Yeah, and I agree. I think talking to customers, right, this is great for that amazing, video experience. But to Tony's point, you're kind of typically pairing this with some type of headset or some type of audio source. So whether you have that open environment where the sync works, me personally, I never go anywhere without my Focus 2. I love the noise cancellation feature and the acoustic fence feature of it. So it's great for me on the road, but also at home when my kids get home from school and they want a snack. I can just literally block it out and no one even knows they're there. So a great kind of bundle type of solution that customers can get to.
And in fact, you guys keep me honest here because you know the products more than I do. But the bundle that we're talking about, which is the P5 camera and the Sync 20, or the P5 camera and whatever headset you want, is actually available from Poly in a work from home starter bundle, right? You can get it packaged in a single box, have it show up, all the instructions in there, and people can just go, and that can be your standard if you want. Is that right?
Yeah, so we have 4. Yeah, we have 4 that are prepackaged that they literally can choose from, and they get that sent. So, I'm sure Tony ran into this too. We literally worked with customers and they put it in their catalogs, right? So their users can go in and say, this is the type of experience I want. I want a great webcam experience, and I have an open environment, so the sync works for me. Someone else might want an actual more closed experience with an actual dual headset, dual earcuff, and that's what they go with.
So then moving on to the next solution, and I'm going to go a little bit out of numerical order. When you're trying to keep it simple for users, and you're sending them this simple kit, it's still 2 pieces, and they still have to figure out how to plug one into the other, or maybe plug both into there. If you're trying to make it even simpler than that, then Tony, you got behind you one of our P21s, right? That's the offering where everything's already built in, ready to go. You plug it in, upload the driver, and you're there.
Yeah, no, exactly. The P21's a great solution, especially for people. We forget not everybody are technologists like we are. So you may have remote workers that don't know how to set up lighting, don't know how to set up a camera, or set up proper shots. So the P21, you've got it all in one, right? So you've got your screen, your speakers, your microphone, you've got a great camera. My favorite part of the P21, it's a little thing, but it's huge, is the ability to have the built-in front lighting, right? How many times has somebody set up a monitor or camera at home and the lighting's horrible? So the light is included. And then it's a simple plug it into the laptop, use it with your favorite application. You even have a programmable button, whether it's Zoom or Microsoft Teams, but I'm the Zoom guy, so I'm going to favor Zoom. but it's a great solution for those non-technical home users who just need something to set up, plug their laptop in, and off they go.
And let's be clear with this, because I never want to be accused of not telling anybody the truth. I don't want to deceive anyone. It's not the best display that you can buy for a computer, and it's not the best camera that you can buy. It's certainly not the best camera that we make, but it is a 21-inch high-quality display with essentially the same P5 camera element that you were just talking about, Caitlin, built into it, with the lighting built in, with, by the way, a key charger built in, so you can recharge your phone if you need to. And it has all of that where it just plugs in and does one thing all in one shot.
And I think the key to both of these and the other technologies that we'll talk about within the P series is it's a USB connection, right? So to a user, and I think to Tony's point, you plug in, you join whatever ecosystem, even though Tony's going to talk a little more Zoom here on this call, but the factor is it's open for customers, right? If I want to travel from a Teams call to a Zoom to a Google Meet, it doesn't matter, right? Because it's a USB, it's running off your computer. So you have that opportunity to kind of switch platforms as you need to.
And that's actually... Go ahead, Tony.
We see it a lot for hoteling situations. We see a lot of offices where they'll just set these up in a hotel office where anybody can walk in and plug in because they know they will now have the camera, the lighting, the screen, and they don't have to worry about what their cameras are on their laptop or that sort of thing. And so we're seeing a lot of deployment in hoteling situations. And by the way, I love the Qi charger when I do trade shows. Caitlin's probably seen this. Like, I like demoing this because I can just put my phone on the charger while I demo it to get a couple minutes of battery charge on it.
And it's actually a really good point that I want to make sure that people understand the differentiation that you guys were both just talking about. Because it's a USB device, it's a USB display, so it needs a standard USB display driver, which is not a Poly product, but you have to load that if you want to use it as a display. And it's a standard USB camera. Just shows up as your regular USB camera with drivers. It doesn't have any specific built-in codecs. It works with whatever needs a camera and whatever needs a display. You can use it as your secondary display on your computer and use it to look at spreadsheets and watch videos and do anything else you want to do. It has nothing to do with conferencing. You can use it as a camera on any video conferencing capable, whether they're one of our nearly dozen partners that work with us, or even some of our competitors that don't work with us. It's a camera and you can use it. So you have zero compatibility issues. A lot of the people that are offering, their little built-in one-piece thingies on the desktop that are kind of garbage will give you 2, maybe 3, if you're lucky, capabilities of making calls. And beyond that, you're stuck. I was going to use a different word, but this will work with anybody. So it's the right solution if you want to have a very high quality experience for an executive or for somebody at home who's not tech savvy, who just wants to drop it in, use it as a secondary monitor with the camera, and do anything that they want to do in their software.
Yep.
You summed it up perfectly.
Awesome. See, so I'm getting this right every once in a while. Okay, so the third camera that we can talk about in our P series and our work from home series happens to be the camera that all three of us are using today. I'm using it with headphones just because I always want to keep the look of headphones going when I do the show. I think you guys are using the built-in microphones and speakers with it. We're talking about
the P15 have headphones.
You have absolutely, especially like that's Deadpool, right? Or is it Spider-Man?
It in talks, but it can say really obnoxious things, so I'm not doing that on recorded.
Okay, that's fine, no problem. So tell me a little bit about the P15. One of you guys have a P15 that you can hold up, right?
Yep. So I have the P15 behind me right here.
Okay.
Hopefully I don't mess anything up on this wall. I'm borrowing an office right now. So this is the P15. This is a built all-in-one bar, built all-in-one, but it's still USB driven, so still drives off of someone's computer that you plug it into. Doesn't have a compute specifically in it, but great technology, 4K camera, privacy shutter right at the front of it, so I can easily turn that on or off. It comes with a hinge mount, so I can hinge this to whatever display, whatever type of display I need to. You have your microphones and speakers built directly into the bar itself. What we've done, I think is great about this is think of this for that at-home user, maybe VP level or whatever it may be, but it has that dedicated space and they really want that guaranteed environment to have great audio and great video capabilities. What we've been able to provide in here as well is, since there's multiple microphones, the acoustic treatments that are found in our video systems also come in this bar. So our noise block technology, which takes away unwanted noise if you're not talking without having to find that mute button, is built directly into this bar, as well as acoustic fence. I love this feature. I mentioned my kids. I'll mention them again because they're the best. But with Acoustic Fence, I can put this on narrow. So if my kids come up running and need a snack, because they always need snacks, I can actually cut that out, right? So they could be right next to me with my Acoustic Fence, which takes the microphones at the front of this bar and actually creates a beam out of where you hear me here, you don't hear me here. So we're able to do that and at different levels. So for someone that may want to be able to walk around a little bit and still be heard, you can make that a little bit wider. Again, I do it narrow because my kids come right here and I narrow that out. So really great technology to have in that home office. And I use the kids, but think the doorbell's ringing, right? Someone's at the door, you have the cleaners in, you have people doing work in your environment for whatever home improvement. Get rid of all that noise. Don't have to worry, it would go on mute. So both those acoustic treatments are built directly into the P15, which I think is key.
Well,
and Tony,
kind of to your point, and I just had a real world demo, which you can't tell. So I have a 14-year-old son who's 6'2" football player who's upstairs right now after practice running around. I could hear it, but remember, Acoustic Fence works in all directions. And I'm a huge fan of it because, as you can see, this is my lab. This is where I do a lot of things. I like being able to walk around. And the audio capabilities of that are huge. And by the way, it's on my iMac, and I use it as my iMac speaker because the speakers in the 15 are better than they are in my iMac.
And also the cameras that are built into the P15 is our standard Poly AI based camera. So it now has the ability to do tracking as you move around, right? I mean, Caitlin, you want to show us for a second?
Yeah, absolutely. So if I want to stand up, I've had a long day, right? I want to be able to maybe even show something over here on this lovely Poly sign. I can do that, right? And know that the camera's going to come in and zoom on me. So there's group framing here. So imagine even if someone joined me, it could grab two people right in a shot and show that. So it gives you that flexibility and that freedom to move around your office. If, again, we're probably all on calls, right? From 8 to 5 p.m., 6 p.m. So to be able to get up and walk around and have that freedom is really key with this camera. And again, it's something you can turn right on and it does the work for you.
So it doesn't have the all of the Director AI features that we have across some of our higher end codecs and cameras, but it has the basics of that, so it'll always be able to make a good shot. I know I'm using the P15 right now. I typically keep it off because I'm seated here and I have so much garbage behind me that I don't want to confuse it any more than I have to. Same with you, Tony. So we don't have the tracking on.
Yeah, and you'll see my bad cable management if that goes down too far. So
exactly, and the junk in my basement.
In a home office, you don't need as advanced, camera AI as we have, obviously, in our higher end systems, right? I don't need something that's going to do people framing. I don't need something that's going to do speaker tracking or no. I need what it does now because it's great for a home office.
Yeah, and when we built the P15, right, we purposely thought about field of view, right, and thought about what you're capturing at a home office. So it's a 90-degree field of view. Most of our cameras and most cameras out there for a conference room are 120 or so, right? So what we're doing here is defining that field of view because typically if I'm by myself, that's all I need, right? So we don't need a larger field of view. So the P15 has that by default. And to Tony's point, you don't need speaker framing in this type of environment because usually it's just one person, right, in front of this camera.
And I would want to point out the flexibility. It also has USB ports in the back of it, so that when you plug it in, you have additional USB ports. And it also has the flexibility that as you notice, I'm using it with a headset. You guys aren't, so it doesn't have to be. You can use just the speaker. You can use the speaker and the microphones, or you can use neither, and you can use a headset with it. And you can change back and forth as you need to in the collaboration platform. Or in all of these products, you always want to be able to load the Poly Lens, the Lens desktop feature, because that's what gives you the control to turn the tracking on and off, and to set the Acoustic Fence and all the rest of the features in it, as well as give you some cool abilities to remind you when to get up from your desk and walk around instead of getting back
and don't
into
forget
frozen.
having Lens in there means, because all this technology is constantly evolving, these devices are smart. We change the camera capabilities, we change everything just through software, so Lens keeps it up to date at all times too.
Yeah, and that's actually another really, really good point and a differentiator for the Poly technology, because all of the devices we've told you about today, P5, P21, P15, and even some of the Sync products, when they connect,
the headsets,
when they connect through Poly Lens desktop, your enterprise now has the ability to keep track of where they are. For years and years and years, the situation would be, hey, I need a headset. Okay, here's $100. Go get your headset. And then the company would have zero inventory capability of it. They wouldn't know where it is, wouldn't know if it's updated. They wouldn't know if it was sold the next week on eBay. It was just, here, go away, take the money and get out of here. And now we have a situation where, the IT managers that are managing this complex of systems across the world now include people's home offices on their campus. You can't peek in to see what the camera's doing. You can't peek in to listen to the audio. The privacy is maintained, obviously, but you can look to see, is it on? Is it up to date? Is it working? And if you've paid for somebody to have a P15 because they really want this high quality experience, you can remote into their Lens desktop and say, is it there? When was the last time it was turned on? Hey, excuse me, Sir David, we gave you one of these, cameras, cost a few $100s. When was the last time you're using it? Do you need it, or can we repurpose it for somebody else? That's a level of management of home devices that hasn't existed in the industry until these were introduced.
Yes. And I would say it's a value add, right? And I use that instead of another word. It's a value add that we provide, right? Because we understand the need to be able to have that insight for IT managers and admins. So when we get to talk to customers about this, their eyes light up, right? They love the fact that they can see we're making this investment in our users, in our people to get great quality at home. We need to be able to see what's happening too, right? And have that management piece.
So these are what you should standardize on as your primary 3 setups, plus or minus what headset you use, or if you use a speaker device. There's also a fourth one that we could talk about, which isn't the typical use case, but I worked in financial services for years, and every once in a while you get that phone call saying, oh, so-and-so managing director or senior vice president has his home in Florida or in Connecticut or somewhere else, and they would like to have, a flat panel and a codec in there, just as if it was one of the conference rooms in the company. So in that case, you can kind of look at the X30, right, Tony?
Yeah, so I've got an X3 here, and the X3 also gives you a lot of other capabilities because it's in Zoom mode, right? But I've got an HP touchscreen, and I just paired it with my X30. So now in my case, I'm set up also for hoteling. So we talked a little bit about hoteling, like the ability to just reserve spaces, walk in, and then, in the Zoom world, I can just scan the QR code, and it'll reserve the room for me. But let's take it to what my home user might do. So I've reserved it where now I can also just kind of go up and go, well, I want to make this my home system. So now when I checked in, it's going to bring all my Zoom information. In this case, I'm going to use a room and not a companion whiteboard, because you can do that now on the X30. Right. And now it's going to bring all my meetings, all my settings, all my contacts to this screen, just like if I was sitting in front of my Zoom application or a dedicated room system. So, and from a pricing standpoint, it's really quite feasible. I mean, Dave, we remember the days when people wanted to put like Concord 4500s in the CEO's boardroom, and that codec was $150,000 back in the day. This is absolutely usable. And you're finding a lot of people I've seen on the executive level, and maybe even myself, I'll take an X30 and put it on my TV screen in my main room so I can jump into meetings if I need to.
Yeah, a couple of grand and you're done, and you have it built in and installed. The other thing, you showed a great thing. It comes with a touch panel. You can get it with the TC8, but you don't need it. You can hook it up like you have and like I have at home, where you've got it set up just on a touchscreen display. But the other thing is, and again, these are religious preferences. Whether somebody wants it to be a PC based or built-in codec based on an Android, and I'm not going to get into which is better or which is worse. But in some cases, you don't want the executive at home to be dependent on their PC skills. You don't want them to have to know that they need to open up Zoom or open up Teams or open up something and make sure that there's no conflict with the headset versus the speaker versus. Sometimes you just want to have, I got a box, it's built into your room. I can call it, you can call out from it. We manage it completely remotely, and that's what the X30 would be. It's all built in there. There's no computer involved. It just hangs and does what it needs to do.
Click to join experience. The easy buttons, right? The easy buttons.
So that's something to consider as well for the executive at home. Not very expensive, and something that's relatively easy to set up and use. And it's essentially the same form factor as the P15, roughly the same size. It's just got a different size lens, and it's got a codec, and it's got some better features inside of it, where again, it's all self-contained. You only need to hook up USB for the control, and HDMI, and power and network, and that's it, and you're done. And it works.
And if you don't want to use a touch screen, you don't even have to use USB. It would just be power and network, and it can be wireless, so you don't have to worry about a physical cable. And at least in the Zoom world, I can always just pair my phone to control it, or my iPad to control it. So I don't even have to worry about another device if I don't want.
Yeah,
But the
and
whole thing,
prices with features vary depending upon where you get them and what's included there. But again, you're talking about an entry-level codec all in that's compatible with multiple services, Zoom, Teams, BlueJeans, and a whole bunch of others, in around the $2,000 range. It's not an expensive device. It's an option to consider for executives at home.
well, I know that, like you said, we're the old people in this industry in this call, and you think about what we can do now for almost the price of less than a high-end laptop. That used to be so much money, right? You're talking about almost a non-capital purchase to fully video enable a screen, no matter where it is, with the compute and everything else on any platform you choose.
Yep.
So Caitlin, help me with there are some other codecs that are and devices that are fringe that people wouldn't really use at home that are more applicable for other solutions for other in office and hoteling. I mean, we've got the Studio USB, the older one. We've got the R30. We've got the other. We wouldn't really use those at home, but you kind of could. Would you give us like 2 seconds on each one of those?
Yeah, so we kind of have the different product lines. When you look at the conference room, we have our kind of USB connected devices, which you're going to look at our R30, which recently came out in the spring. It's very similar to the P15 form factor, but we've increased that field of view. So that's a 120-degree field of view. Think of it placed into like a huddle room, 4 or 5 person type of space where you want to be able to capture and then again plug and play into someone else's computer, and then it drives off of it. Doesn't have a compute built into it, right? So similar to the P series devices that we talked to.
P for personal, R for room.
Yep, P for personal, R for room. Exactly.
And by the way, the hint that I use, everybody, is this is a standard measure, the Danto arm. If you're sitting somewhere and the Danto arm can get you to touch the device, then it's appropriate for the P15. If wherever you're putting the device, you can't touch it, it's another one of the
device.
arm lengths, then you're talking about the right place for the R30.
Absolutely. Yep. So we're seeing it land in a lot of different spaces. And it's a great device. It has all the tracking capabilities that we talked about. It has the full fleet of the Poly Director AI tracking capabilities, as well as the acoustic treatments. So really good for those, again, small huddle room spaces. And then within the USB family, we still have, we have the Studio USB, which is a great device. Again, comes with the acoustic treatments and the tracking treatments. And that device would be more in like a medium sized space, right? So that's going to give you like your 8-ish person room max. And those are the USB devices. So those, again, still don't have their own compute. You'll have to run a computer off of them. When Tony talked about the X30, we also have the X series line, and anything with the X includes compute, right? And that's our Android-based devices. And we have the 30, the 50, the 70, and all the way up to our G7500, which is more like an a la carte. And then really we work with the customer depending on the room requirements, the needs, and outfit the appropriate solution into the different spaces. We typically build like a catalog, right? This is your size space. This was what fits in your medium room, right? And we can build a catalog of devices.
And also keep in mind, almost all the devices we mentioned here are fully certified for Zoom and Teams, right? So you're also getting devices that will be supported by the platform of your choice, which is huge. And the fact that we have a range from headsets all the way up to G7500s that are certified for most of these platforms, there's not many other people who can say that.
Right.
All right, and I guess the point that I would want to have everybody take away from this conversation is that if you're really serious about collaboration and serious about supporting hybrid working and serious about supporting work from home, you're going to want to take these devices that we make for the enterprise that are compatible with multiple platforms, natively compatible with multiple platforms, certified on them, and put companion certified natively compatible devices when people are at home to give the quality that we have today. If I were using the camera that was built into the notebook in front of me, first of all, you'd get that wonderful "my nose hairs need to be trimmed" shot, which we've all loved over the years. And you still have manufacturers to this day producing products that sit on the table with that nose cam. And I personally don't understand it. I mean, if you need to make a call and you're just running around, you've got whatever mobile device you use and you stick the camera on it and you're fine and you have no issue with it. But if you're going to be at home and you really want to impress people, you want something that's going to pick up high quality, high resolution, don't need very special lighting for it, give you the kind of quality that again, it will convey to you the kind of way that will be equal to if I was in the room. I'm looking at you. It looks like I'm looking you in the eye, and that's what you want to have when you're working from home. So we have these packages based on the P5, the P15, and the P21, and the various components, and we would suggest having organizations standardize on them to make them available so people who are remote and working from home will have the same kind of quality that you would experience if they were in the office at any given time. I guess that's my story. Is that what you guys say all the time?
Yeah, and I would say that work from home is a constant conversation that I'm having with all my customers, and we can work to help build the right catalogs that fit for your users, right? Hybrid work is obviously here to stay, and people will get super fatigued, right, if they're using what's embedded within their devices that they receive. So employers are looking at ways to kind of better that home experience. It helps with the retention rate. There's a lot of benefits to providing this great technology to your users. So like I said, we can work with customers directly. We actually have great tools, right, to kind of determine what kind of users you have as well within your organization and help you build out those catalogs that will better your users' overall experience as they're using communications platforms.
Real quick, and I know we won't go into it here, but let's not forget phone. Right? A lot of users who maybe don't do video or work in it, they need a phone at home. And a lot of people still like handsets, right? They're still out there. So think about the Poly line for, hey, I've got a phone that's on my desk when I'm in the office. I unplug it. I go home, I plug it back in. My desk phone's with me too and can be integrated with my video. So just want to point that out. We always forget that we do a lot with phones when it comes to hybrid as well.
Totally.
Okay. So that's good news, and I have a little bit of breaking news here. Although, if I broke any news about our products or solutions, I know my wonderful colleagues would be very upset with me. So it's not about that. But I did just find out as we record this yesterday that Poly is going to be one of the lead sponsors and organizations showing work from home products at the CEDIA Expo, which is taking place in the U.S. In Dallas, September 29th to October 1st. The IMCCA, and that's my other hat, I'm going to be leading the IMCCA Work From Home Education Pavilion, and we'll be showing Poly solutions as well as some of our competitors. I know Jobber will be there and a few others. Cisco will be there with some of their WebEx products, and we'll be having educational classes, and we'll be showing these Poly Work From Home solutions. So if you're around the Dallas area, end of September, early October, come visit me, come visit us over there, and we'll be going into some deep dives around work from home solutions and how you can make home studios and record content, avoid video fatigue, and some of those other really terrific things that you'll want to learn about the work from home as part of the CEDIA Expo. So pleasure to be able to break that news and let everybody know that today. So Tony, if somebody wants to find out more about these products and wants to reach out to you, how would they go about doing it?
Sure. My email address is tony.intrabartolo@poly.com. I'll let you research how to spell the last one. You can always reach out to me or reach out to me via Zoom as well. Same email address, and happy to help you out. And I'll put in touch with our Zoom team.
Terrific. Caitlin, what about you? How would somebody reach out to you?
Sure. So it's caitlin.press@poly.com, and you can feel free to reach out, and I can always get you to the right systems engineer that can help you as well, and provide any support we can.
Caitlin and Tony, thanks very much for joining me. It's a great information. We do want to see our customers and our friends standardize on at-home solutions going forward, and this is some great news. And like I said, I'll see everybody, if not before then, at CEDIA Expo. On Poly Weekly News next week, we're going to have my colleagues Brandon Ribby, Joe Dlecki, Enable UC's Kevin Keeler, and Tom Arbuthnot, a fourth person joining us. But the other three will be back on the show to talk about what happened at Microsoft Inspire this past week. So hopefully we'll get some good news there, and we'll see you in next week's show. But until then, I'm David Danto for everyone at Poly. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.